My family made it very clear that I was an accident, and that my other siblings were all planned, but I didn't expect them to plan a whole Christmas vacation without me and then say it was an accident that I didn't get an invite to. So I, 29M, am an oops baby, something that my family has constantly reminded me of since I was little, because it's funny. My brother, 44, oldest sister, 42, and second oldest sister, 39, were all planned by our parents. I was the result of a drunken fun night on New Year's Eve according to my dad. I've never been close to my siblings due to the large age gap. My parents, while never mean, but never went out of their way to show me the same love that my siblings get, at least that is how it's always felt. For instance, when I was younger I was in choir. I used to love to sing, but no one in the family ever came to see me sing. I was told we are busy or we have other plans, so I gave up singing. But I remember them going to my other siblings' dance things. So I gave up on doing anything other than working on my computer and playing with my friends. I stuck to just getting good with computers and in doing so, ended up in a good job where I've been working for almost 10 years now. Started at the bottom of IT and now have worked my way up to being a manager for about 15 people. However, being in IT means I have to occasionally miss out on family events as well as some holidays because where I work it's 24/7 split into 12-hour shifts. Due to this, over the years, I've been accidentally forgotten to be invited because we figured you were working without actually asking me. This has been a recurring issue with my family. Forgetting to ask me to join them or making excuses as to why I wasn't invited. However, one thing I could always rely on was being able to show up on Christmas Eve, that's when we celebrate Christmas, and still feel like I belonged, even if it was later in the evening. Most of the love I felt came from my nieces, who always think of me as the cool uncle and are always happy to see me. Happened to stop over at my folks yesterday and while there I saw my nieces. Folks tend to watch them on the weekends, that's a whole different story. But my nieces started asking if I was excited for Christmas as we get to hang out in a cabin this year. I looked confused and asked my mom what they were talking about and she looked obviously embarrassed and said everyone made plans back in June to celebrate in a rental cabin in Vermont for Christmas. LOL, I kid you not, she looked at me and said we all figured you had to work again and couldn't get the time off. So everyone figured you wouldn't mind missing one Christmas. Had they said something, I could have taken the time off. To say I was and am heartbroken is an understatement. Like I get I'm an oops baby and not really ever thought of much, if ever, but to just be left alone for the Christmas on purpose, I mean, how does a family do that to someone? I just turned around, hugged my nieces goodbye and left, didn't even say goodbye to my mom. I pride myself on being a strong individual, especially on how my family has always treated me. But not gonna lie, I actually cried on the way home. Never in my life have I felt so rejected, especially by people who are supposed to love me. I couldn't even ask her when they planned on telling me or if they planned on telling me. What would happen if I showed up after work and no one was there? I just left. I probably shouldn't have, but I was hurting too much to really care at the moment. Now here's my dilemma. I have a new girlfriend, Zoe, 27F, and by new, I mean we've only been going out and seeing each other since just after Thanksgiving. I sent her a text when I got home telling her what happened as I had to talk to someone. She kinda knows about my family, being in such a new relationship I didn't want to unload all my baggage on her. But she does know that me and my family don't have a standard type relationship. Anyway, she has invited me to go with her to celebrate Christmas with her family. I haven't given her an answer yet. In previous relationships, we were together months before the invite to Christmas ever came up. However, this is the first relationship where it's only been a few weeks. So asking people of Reddit for their advice. Would going with Zoe to her family's be a good idea? Being that this is so new, is there a potential downside? Would it be better to be gracious and thank her for the invite but decline? Or accept the invite and go? BTW, I do have to work Christmas Eve again this year, but not Christmas Day, so that's A+, I guess. Lol. I've rambled enough, sorry this thing got a little too long. Update. First, thanks for those that commented on my first post. Wasn't really sure if I should go or not, but it was the best decision I ever made. When I told my GF that I would love to go with her, she was really happy. I did what others suggested and bought a really nice bottle of wine for her family and a few gifts for my GF. I expected a bit of awkwardness when we arrived, but none of that happened. When we arrived and I met her family, I was treated just like I belonged there. I had a great time. We had some really great food and played some games. And overall it was a great experience and much different than any Christmas I ever had with my family. Speaking of which, mom called me while I was at my GF's family. I don't think they were happy about it by the tone of her voice, lol. When they called, we were in the middle of playing Pictionary, and everyone was having a good time. She asked where I was, and I told her. I wished her a Merry Christmas and hung up the phone, and then turned it off. I wasn't gonna let her / them ruin a good time. When it was time to go, everyone thanked me for coming and said they hoped I had a good time. I don't think I could wipe the smile off my face even if I wanted to. It was such a nice and loving group of people. I know this relationship is still super new, but the amount of love I received from my GF and family really makes me hope that this works out. I've never felt in my whole life what I felt on Christmas. As someone posted on my first post, it felt like a Hallmark movie of sorts. I know it's just all the new feelings, but if anything I've learned, I deserve more than what little my family gives me. Thanks again, everyone, for talking me into going. Best decision ever.